I call to order the meeting of the Manassas Park Governing Body for July 21st, 2026. So we do need to amend the agenda to add items 11B and C, votes on the two public hearings. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Please join us for a moment of silence, and Councilmember Cyberling, will you lead us in the pledge?
Yes.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? Nope. All right, is there anyone who is not signed up but still wants to make public comment? Nope. All right, moving on. We will start the first public hearing. Tonight we have two public hearings. The first one is regarding conditional use permit for Max Custom Exhaust. I declare the public hearing open. And we'll begin with presentation. Welcome.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, Mayor Mensing, Vice Mayor Moore, and council members. I'm Eva Ariaza, and I'm an assistant planner here with the city. I'm here to present conditional use permit 2026-02 for Max Custom Exhaust, a business that focuses exclusively on exhaust system repair, modification, and replacement. Moving forward, Max is located at 9115 Digital Drive, Suites 2 and 15. I've highlighted the two units, and they're back-to-back, so it's 2 and 15. The site is 3 acres, and the conditional use permit area is 5,600 square feet. To give you a better idea of where the site is located, to the north are the Dominion Crossing townhomes, to the east is Belmont Station, and to the south is a vacant property that just underwent a rezoning, so that'll be the 86 townhomes. And then to the west are the Palisades apartments. This site is zoned I-1, which is light industrial. In the I-1 district, a conditional use permit is required for auto-related uses. The applicant is seeking this conditional use permit so the business complies with the zoning requirements set forth by the city. On the other side, we have the comprehensive plan future land use designation map. The site is situated on the periphery of the city center redevelopment district, and it is surrounded on the other side by multifamily. Here is another aerial view. I want to highlight the buffers in this slide. So to the north, we have a 40-foot vegetated buffer and a wooden fence that transitions into a chain link fence. To the east, there's a 30-foot vegetated buffer, and to the south, there's a proposed 20-foot landscape buffer and an 8-foot vinyl fence. Here are some interior pictures. This shows the office space and some of the custom mufflers. The business has been operating for 4 years at this location, and the services provided by the applicant are muffler replacement and installation, full exhaust system repair and replacement, and catalytic converter replacement and services. No oil changes, transmission services, radiator flushing, or brake work are done on site. Because of this, there's little concern of illicit discharge being generated. Here are some more photos of the interior. As you can see, there's 3 car lifts in this photo, but there's a total of 4 on the site. And there are various tools and machines used for operational purposes. This is a photo of the ABS leak-proof containers that are required as part of the development conditions for the CUP. The shop must store all waste produced in these containers. And then on the top left, you can see the 4th car lift. These are the main development conditions staff is recommending. Hours of operations Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and weekends by appointment only, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. All waste must be stored in those ABS containers that was on the previous slide. And all catalytic converters must be intact when given to recyclers, so no processing or shredding on site. The shop must comply with the Manassas Park noise ordinance and no overnight parking for more than 48 hours. As stated, the site is located within the city center redevelopment district, and this district does not support light industrial use. In most cases, inconsistency with the comprehensive plan is grounds for disapproval, but this case is unique in its circumstances, and staff is recommending approval of this case. The unique characteristics are that the property was purchased in 2024 by the city to provide office space for the Department of Community Development. As such, its future use will be civic use, which is consistent with this district. The current use is a temporary use until the city occupies the space, and the conditional use permit will expire on the last day of legal occupancy. On June 10th, the Planning Commission recommended to the governing body approval of this conditional use permit, subject to the conditions dated May 28th, 2026, and staff is recommending that the governing body approve conditional use permit 2026-02, subject to the conditions dated May 28th, 2026. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ava.
Of course.
Any questions start to the left?
Yeah, can you go over, I'm not familiar with it, it's been a while, with the noise levels for what the ordinance currently says, the max level noise ordinance? Because I know with a shop, you're looking at impact wrenches, air tools, you're looking at angle grinders, grinding metal, mufflers being detached and running, things of that nature. So those have 90 to 110 decibels, plus with running engines without a muffler can get up to over 120 decibels. So I'm just wondering what our current...
Yeah, of course, that's a great question. I will defer to Mickey on this.
Look up the ordinance, I don't have it in front of me. I will say we haven't gotten any complaints about the noise related to the use. And the decibels are measured based at the property line, and it's different with I-1 zoning, and then you have it's PUD to the north, and I guess PUD to the south now. So let me try to look this up. Let's see, I'm sorry. Let me look it up and then I'll get back to you because I don't want to stay
Sure.
here.
So I'm just doing a little bit, looking here. Rock concert is about 110 decibels, and then...
Do you mind taking the conversation out to the hallway, please? Thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Stacy.
And then just hammering is 90 to 110. Just trying to watch out for our residents that surround that area. I know we get a lot of noise complaints just with the train, just trying to not get into a similar situation.
Okay, so I do have the chart up here.
Can you go back to the hours of operation?
Sure. Oops.
Just so we can compare what the ordinance says.
Okay, so in the daytime, which is okay, well, I have the decibel levels. It's 60 in the daytime and then 55 in the nighttime.
Will they exceed that?
Not to my knowledge. Again, it's measured at the property line, not at the business. Again, we have not had complaints. We would have to go out and do a noise survey and get the decibel level
Yeah, because I would hate
measurement.
to approve it and then say, oh, it's not like we can say whoops and take it back. So it'd be one of those things where I think we should know what beforehand, whether or not they're going to be able to adhere to the ordinance or not.
Okay. We would have to, coordinate with, like, the police, I believe, are the only people who have the decibel level meters, so we would have to coordinate with them. But to get back to the daytime hours, it's 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and then 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Fridays.
Okay, thank you.
And then 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturdays, and then it reduces by an hour, so 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sundays.
And it has decibels with those, the max decibels for each of
Yes,
those
and
periods?
yes, and it's typically, so you have industrial and then you have residential, so you take the lower of the two. Industrial is actually, the maximum is 79, and the nighttime is 72, but you take the residential, which is 60 in the daytime and 55 at night.
So that would be, for me, something
Okay.
like that. Okay.
If
That's
I
all I
may.
have. Thank you.
Max is is indoors. It's in a building. It's not out in the parking lot, so the building will damper most of the sound. It's measured at 60 decibels at the property line, not where it's occurring.
So
It's in a garage.
I also know in garages, they leave the doors open, so, to get airflow. So I would definitely want some type of feedback as far as noise,
Reading.
yeah.
Okay.
I want to thank the applicant for sticking and staying here in Manassas Park and continuing and expanding a little bit.
Is your mic on?
I want to thank the applicant for continuing to be here in Manassas Park, so I have no concerns here. It's during the day. I think you've gone beyond what we're requesting, so I am satisfied. And being on the second term here, I've never heard anybody over there complain about noise. So thank you for, going through this process. So thank you.
Appreciate your time and.
Councilmember Amaya? Turn your mic on.
Could you let me know or clarify, how come they're now seeking a special use permit versus when they first went into the shop?
Sure. Well, so when he initially established his shop, it does go through zoning, and at the time, I did tell him that a conditional use permit was required for the use to legally operate in the space. We have been working towards that. There was a lot of back and forth and misunderstanding about what is required when you have this type of use. We were comparing it to like an auto repair use, where we were advised by our consulting engineer that it would require an oil water separator. When we hired our stormwater program manager, he actually reviewed the information and made the determination that that was essentially overkill, and that as long as they had spill practices as identified here, it would be acceptable. So we certainly didn't want to put the applicant through a lot of financial burden with this, and so when we came to that resolution, he immediately began to file the application and move it forward.
Okay.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you for the presentation back there. I was impressed by how clean the shop looked from the pictures. How long has the shop been operating?
I believe it's 4 years.
4.5 years. So, Mickey, in 4.5 years, how many complaints have we received?
None, not from the shop.
A resident?
Right.
Zero. Okay. And my last question is, the Planning Commission, what was the vote?
I believe it was unanimous.
5-0.
5-0.
Thank you.
I have no questions. I plan to support it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, no questions. I mean, you can't have a custom exhaust shop and not do muffler repairs. So, I mean, the noise concern is an issue, but I think city manager mentioned it's going to be indoors. So I have no issue. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anyone signed up to make public comment on this public hearing? Is anyone who is not signed up but would still like to make public comment on the public hearing? No. All right, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries. The public hearing is closed, and this will be voted on later tonight. Our next public hearing is regarding a conditional use permit for a home daycare at 118 Cabell Drive. I declare the public hearing open. And we'll begin with staff presentation.
Okay. Why does this never work for me? Oh. They switched it. Yes, I do. Okay, so here's this.
It's down there. Can you move your phone?
Thank you. Apologize for that. Good evening, Mayor Mency and Vice Mayor Moore, along with the council members. I'm Michelle Berry, the Planning and Zoning Administrator for the city. This is an application, a conditional use permit 2026-03. It's for a home daycare at 118 Capel Drive. The state calls it a family day home, but I will refer to it in its more easier to understand nomenclature, home daycare. The site is just off of Crozet on Cabell Drive, and the parallel street is Old Centerville Road. The zoning for the property is R1, and the future land use map is single family. The R1 district is to provide for a medium single density single-family development to promote and encourage a suitable environment for family life. And the future land use map for single-family residential is to protect and improve the character of residential neighborhoods. Now, in the zoning ordinance, a home daycare is allowed up to 5 children without any legislative approval. So when it goes to 6 to 12, that's what requires a conditional use permit. And the reason for that is not that the use is clearly appropriate accessory use to residential. We certainly want daycare facilities within our community, especially the home daycare, which it's my understanding that most people prefer given its smaller environment. So we are really looking at impacts to adjacent properties for this evaluation of the permit. Just real quick, here is an overview of the property. You can see it has a really long one car width driveway. It has ample space in the backyard, and it's some trees and landscaping in the front. This is the interior layout of the house. This is the first floor. Just real quickly, so she is using all of these rooms for the daycare. The rooms in the back, which was an addition that was completed in 2025, is really her private living space. And I'll get to some photos in a moment. This is just another floor plan. This is what you saw in the previous slide blown up. This is the actual upstairs of the existing or the original house, and it does have a knee wall in there, so it is limited in space. But with more children up to 12, that may be used as potential daycare area. So here is the living room. To orient yourself, that's the front door of the home. Oh, is that the side door? Excuse me, I'm sorry, that's the side door, excuse me. This is the front infant room in the front of the house. And then you have, this is storage, potential daycare area, and then the bathroom with a step for the children. Here's the kitchen that they use as part of the daycare. And then this is the upstairs area. So originally, you see the play equipment in the front yard. That is when I went the applicant submitted this application, and when I went to the property, there was play equipment in the front yard. This is a photo of the backyard showing the area of the potential play space. So the development conditions are, the operating hours would be 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I extended, she actually has it from 7 to 5:30, but I extended it just a half hour on each side just to give her some more flexibility in case, because I don't want her to have to come back and amend the conditions. The maximum number is 12 now, just so you're aware, it does exclude the provider's own children and any other children residing in the home. And that also includes any other non-residential caretakers. So those don't count in the total number. We are requiring the applicant to reside at the property, and the state-issued license is required to be maintained. The state does require a license when you have 5 or more children in home daycare, and she is already licensed through the state. And we have the catch-all required that must be comply with all city, state, and local ordinances, codes, and other requirements. So, of course, one of the major concerns was traffic, parking, vehicles. So we are putting in a condition that the drop-off times have to be staggered with no more than 2 vehicles showing up at one time. We are requiring that up to 2 staff vehicles parked in the driveway, and really leaving that bottom portion of the driveway the prime spot for drop-offs and pickups for the daycare. The applicant is also providing a parking policy which identifies to the clients that you're not supposed to park on other people's driveways or park in front of them, and that the driveway is the primary spot for pickup and drop-off. Other conditions is that litter is supposed to be picked up on the property daily. The outdoor play area is limited to the rear yard. So and that play equipment has since been removed from the front yard and is in the back. Large outdoor play equipment is only permitted in the backyard to reflect that's where the play area is. Toys are to be stored indoors when not in use. The use is subject to the noise ordinance, and then signage is not allowed as part of the application. So the Planning Commission recommendation did make some changes to some of the conditions, and on June 10th, 2026, they modified the conditions by allowing the number of caregivers to be tied to the Virginia Administrative Code formula that identifies how many caretakers you need dependent on the age and number of children. There is a formula, there's more details in the staff report on how that works, but I'm not going to go into it here. They also wanted to prohibit client parking in the middle of the street. A resident came and stated that that does happen, so they wanted to add that in. And although not explicitly requiring, they wanted the applicant to consider completing the fence in the rear yard. And I wanted to go over the fencing for outdoor play areas. Now, the state doesn't require it based on the conditions of this property. It only requires fencing when the play area is within 30 feet of streets with a speed limit in excess of 25 miles an hour, I don't know where I got that, heavy traffic or railroads. So she is compliant. However, she did, in good faith, she did submit a zoning permit for a fence for the side and rear yard, and she is currently installing the fence. This is really just one portion of it. She hasn't gotten to the other side, but you can see that she's making a good faith effort to comply with a recommendation of the Planning Commission, although it's not required by the state. So, and because of that, I didn't include it as a condition. Based on the recommendations of the Planning Commission, the development conditions were revised, and they're in your packet dated July 7th, 2026. And just really the changes were the reference to the Virginia Administrative Code about how many caregivers, and that we are including the prohibition of parking in the middle of the street, to the parking limitations, and requiring a client's signature for acknowledgement of those parking policies and adherence. And that was actually the applicant suggested. She submitted a form to me prior to this hearing and even before the Planning Commission hearing. And so I have to give her credit. I thought that was a nice touch and acknowledgement for our clients. So with that, the Planning Commission, or excuse me, staff is recommending the governing body approve conditional use permit 2026-03, home daycare, 118 Cabell Drive, subject to the conditions dated July 7th, 2026. The applicant is here if you have any questions, but I'm happy to answer any that you may have.
Thank you. We'll start this way this time. Questions?
Thank you, Mickey, for your presentation. The only thing that was not addressed was outdoor playtime. Is there set hours, or because coming 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, a bunch of kids playing outdoors might be a nuance for the neighbors, but.
That, I mean, I'd have to defer to the applicant on that. I mean, I think they go out as a group mainly. You'd have to ask for more detail about how the daily operation works. I don't think they go out that early, but again, I'd have the applicant answer that question.
Would you like to come up and answer the question?
I mean, this one's subject to the noise ordinance where the other one wasn't apparently, so.
No.
they both
The
are.
other app was
They've been
subject,
I'm just
whether
saying it
it's.
was just stated in this one.
Sure, thank you.
They're going twice sometimes depending on the weather. They usually go 9:30 to 10. Sorry. And afternoon sometimes is around 3:30 to 4 sometimes.
Okay.
It's just half an hour.
Perfect. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, what was the other one? If there was any complaints, who do the, I guess, investigation? Us, the state, social services?
Well, it depends on what kind of complaint it is.
Okay.
Now, I did fail to mention the state requirements is they actually go to the daycare twice a year. They are unannounced visits.
Right.
And then if there is a violation found, they do go back for a follow-up inspection.
Okay.
But if it's a violation of the conditions, that would be our zoning enforcement staff as a violation of the conditional use permit. If it has to deal with the state regulations, which there are many, I mean, I've looked at them, there are really a lot of requirements, and even such as immunization and parental consent. So there's a whole checklist, and the state does go through the whole list when they do the inspection. You can look at it online, which I have done at this property. So it's pretty thorough. But again, if you provide an example, I could probably give you who would investigate that.
Okay. I don't have any top of my head.
Okay.
I was just asking in general.
But yeah, it's not only us, but it is the state as well.
Okay, that's good to know then. I mean, and then my last question goes follow up with so I'm assuming like inspections for like building structure, building code, fire extinguishers, making sure this, kids don't have access to the oven or anything like that. Is that us or is that the state?
That would be the state.
Okay.
Yes, they do the internal
Okay.
review of the daycare space.
So Hasib, they also make sure like the medications are locked
Yeah,
up and
yeah,
in
yeah.
different places. So they do a pretty thorough. All the results are also posted on a website. So you can actually investigate or look at your daycare and see
Nice.
what violations they've had in the past and how they've been remedied. It's all posted.
All right, cool. That's it. Thank you.
All right, yeah, no questions for me. I think this is great. My mom used to run a daycare center out of her house, the house I grew up in, so very supportive that you're providing opportunities for people in Manassas Park. Thank you.
Thanks, Mickey, for the presentation. What are the ages of the kids?
Well, it is dependent on who she has to sit for. I mean, I think the starting age is 6 weeks.
Okay,
yes,
that's good.
up-
The 6 week,
yes.
I'm more interested in the other end of the spectrum.
And it-
17, 16?
No, I think it's 13.
Oh, no.
Do you know what the top age? 12.
Okay, fantastic. 6 months or 2 months to 12. And do they take trips to the pocket park on Cabell?
Again, I would have to defer to the applicant
they're here.
about what they do. I think they usually stick at home, but if they do have some type of event, I think, yes, if you could come up, please, to help clarify.
Yeah, you get to stay up in case any of my other colleagues have questions. There's some cheers.
Well, the parent needs to sign a permit to take out the kids from the house. But usually you have one just to walk around the street and the sidewalk. And yeah, the licensee recommend last time if she want another like take out from a trip, they need to sign papers to exactly how long, and they can go to library or to the park.
Great, thank you. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Maya?
Very supportive as well.
How is the city going to protect the children with the speeding? Because there's a lot of speeding in that road. I know it's 25 miles per hour, but there's a lot of people that drive really
Well,
crazy.
and I think that's why the planning commission recommended the fencing to prevent the children from running out into the house. Now, they have to be escorted to and from the front door to the parents' or guardian's vehicle. So, I mean, they can't, those are usually the times where children would be most vulnerable. But as for any specific actions, I don't think we have any. I don't know if the applicant can share what they do. I know, and I've seen cars go down that road pretty quickly. Even when the children were playing in the front yard, it didn't seem to be that much of an issue when I was there, but I don't know if the applicant can talk about the cars on the road and any kind of
Carl,
safety
is there-
measures you take.
Carl, is there anything like the police department can do, just so in the beginning, to kind of let people know to drive slowly there? I don't know if it's like a temporary speed bump, or something that says children at play, or maybe like a speed thing that we usually use that tells you how fast you're going, just so that they know that we're keeping an eye on that road, at least, I don't know, for the first 6 months or something? Because
Absolutely.
it's going to be now 12 kids versus 5.
Yeah. We can't put temporary speed bumps in, but we can definitely put the reactive speed signs and do enforcement, and we can advertise.
Yes.
I'm not sure about the kids in play signs, I'm not sure what the sign rules are, but if possible, it makes sense.
Okay, could we look into that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Notes have been made.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for making an application. I'm very supportive. I've had my kids in home daycare, and usually most of the daycares are at home. They usually keep the kids in the back. They usually don't go in the front, and I don't think I've ever seen them playing in the street. I just haven't seen that in my life. But thank you again, and I'm very supportive. Thank you.
Just want to reiterate Councilmember Maya's suggestions, even without the special use permit, maybe just the speed, because that just seems to be an issue, whether you're little or an adult. So maybe get some patrol there, or just letting people know that we're there and we're watching, for sure. Definitely supportive. I've had, all 3 of my kids have gone through home daycare, and it's definitely a team effort, and just like affordable housing, we need affordable daycare as well. Thank you.
Another question?
Yeah, I have one for Carl. This is the second report that we have that refers to the Planning Commission. If we can go forward, put the vote of the Planning Commission in these reports.
Okay.
I'd like to know if it's a 4-5 vote or a 5-4 or something like that. Just telling me the Planning Commission, heard it.
Approved it,
Doesn't
yeah.
tell me enough.
And I know both of them were unanimous. I don't know if everyone was there, but we can put that in there moving
Yeah,
forward.
even if it's unanimous. Thank you for going forward. Appreciate that.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, I do want to just point out,
Tell the person to get some
All right,
kids.
you guys,
about
can you let
the,
Councilmember Cyberling speak?
about the noise, and I know this isn't about the special use permit. We don't hear from our citizens a lot of the time. That doesn't mean there's not an issue. We've had big budget decisions and meetings where the controversial topics have been spoken about, and we haven't had any citizens come out and speak. But that doesn't mean that there's not an issue. So noise is an issue in the city. We have gotten complaints. We've talked about it, and we've moved on, and they just kind of subsided. But it doesn't mean that they haven't gone away. So I just want to point that out. Thank
Any
you.
final comments, questions from the governing body? Is there anyone signed up to make public comment on this one? Anyone not signed up who still wants to make public comment? All right, we have one email submission. It's from Laura Hampton at 129 Cabell Drive. She has two concerns. The first is traffic safety. She's looking for us to explore measures such as installing signs and increased police patrol throughout the day. And the second concern is pedestrian safety. If staff takes children for walks, it all must cross the street without the benefit of a marked crosswalk, so asking us to look for a marked crosswalk. All right, I motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. This will be voted on later on tonight. Okay, next we have a proclamation recognizing Sheila Rowland for her 33 years of service to the city. Whereas Sheila Rowland has served the city of Manassas Park for 33 years, beginning her career in 1993 with the Department of Social Services, transitioning to the Commissioner of the Revenue Office in 1995, where she spent the next 31 years serving as Deputy Commissioner, demonstrating exceptional dedication, professionalism, leadership, and commitment to excellence. And whereas during her time with the city, she successfully managed 3 software conversions, became a certified Master Deputy Commissioner of Revenue through the Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service, and was recognized as Employee of the Year. And whereas Sheila Rowland has been a great leader for her team in the Commissioner of the Revenue Office and a key member of the city's leadership team, ensuring the success of the city through her hard work, positive attitude, and dedication to our city residents. And whereas the impact of Sheila Rowland's decades of leadership and service will continue to benefit the city of Manassas Park long after her retirement through improved processes, strengthened teams, and the countless people whose lives and careers have been positively influenced. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the governing body formally honors and recognizes Sheila Rowland for her 33 years of service and extends sincere gratitude for the dedication and commitment shown throughout her remarkable career. And be it further proclaimed that the governing body of Manassas Park offers best wishes to Sheila for a long, healthy, and fulfilling retirement filled with joy, new adventures, and well-deserved rest. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Yes.
All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Would you like to come on up, Mom? Thank you so much. We're gonna miss you.
We'll always want you. All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Would you like to say a few words as well?
I just want to say that Sheila's made this transition great for me. She's going to be sorely missed, and we're all very sad that she's leaving us. She's been great. Yay.
Thank you, Sheila, and thank you, Lucy. And thank you to the Rowland family for your dedication to Manassas Park.
Yes.
Okay, our next, we have a presentation from Monica Bachman from the NVTA about Bus Rapid Transit Action Plan. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I'm Monica Bachman, the Chief Executive Officer of the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority, here to talk about the authority's Bus Rapid Transit Action Plan. The BRT action plan was adopted unanimously by the authority in July of last year. And since then, we've been talking to localities, some of our member jurisdictions, about BRT, what it means, what it will mean for the region once the system is implemented. But before I get to that, I do want to touch base regarding Manassas Park and the authority's investments in Manassas Park. For those who are not as familiar with MBTA, we do the long-range transportation planning, programming, and funding for multimodal, regionally significant projects that reduce congestion in Northern Virginia. 70% of the revenues that comes from Northern Virginians go to the authority for these projects. They are capital investments. 30% goes back to the localities where the taxes and fees are collected. So for Manassas Park, $10 million of the authority's revenues have been invested in Manassas Park. And those are direct investments. And you can see some of the projects at VRE Manassas Park, parking garage, a street resurfacing, Connor Drive extension, sidewalk, curb and gutter, and other projects around the Route 28 corridor. The local distribution, or the 30%, we've distributed $7 million of the 30% back to the city, and those are for your transportation purposes. That money is a lot more flexible. You can do capital projects, you can do operation and maintenance. The key is transportation, and it must be new. The General Assembly did not want anyone to supplant with that money. So, okay, he told me this way. Okay, the BRT action plan, we call it One System, 28 Routes. The BRT action plan is a blueprint for NOVA jurisdictions and agencies to develop BRT lines incrementally, in addition to supplying information necessary on how we can demonstrate and successfully implement an integrated BRT system. The Bus Rapid Transit Action Plan was born from the region's long-range transportation plan. At MBTA, we do the long-range transportation plan. The current plan was adopted in December of 2022, and this plan is needs-based, is fiscally and geographically unconstrained. So you will see projects in there, of course, in Northern Virginia, but you will see projects in Maryland and the District of Columbia, because if we live and work here, but we travel outside to Maryland and the district to get around and to do the things we need to do. The plan is unconstrained. When we do this plan, it's our keen opportunity to see the gaps in our network, and that is how BRT was born. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, someone said, oh, let's do metro extensions. Metro extensions take a long time, long time. And this is not in lieu of metro, but we wanted to do something that provided quick, fast, efficient, safe, reliable transportation service, and that can be seamlessly integrated into our network. So, of the 28 routes, we are currently investing in 5. You see the 5 noted on the screen. The 1, which is Fairfax County, is doing Richmond Highway. There's Route 7. There's West End Transit Way, Duke Street Transit Way. Both of those are in the city of Alexandria, and then the Metro Way in Arlington County. If all 28 routes are implemented by calendar year 2045, that means 47 million riders on the system, or 143,000 daily riders. 27,000 daily car trips will be diverted out of the single occupied vehicle and using the system, and 23 tons of carbon dioxide will be avoided daily. Now, given that we are currently investing in 5 routes, that means that we have 23 that we're actively trying to get to several stages of implementation. And that's really why I'm here this evening, and I thank Madam Mayor and the Council for having me. 2 of those routes directly involve the city of Manassas Park. There's the Virginia 28 South route, and that starts at the Manassas VRE station to Dulles Airport, and then the Manassas Connector. It starts at the Manassas Park VRE station to the Northern Virginia Community College campus via Sutley Road. We are asking you, and there is an ask in this, to really integrate these 2 routes into your plan. Now, before I get to that, I've been asked, well, if it's not fixed guideway, is it BRT? What Fairfax County is doing on Route 1, they're widening, working with VDOT, they're widening Route 1, and they're going to have BRT in the median, fixed guideway, nothing else can use it. While that is optimal, all BRT does not look like that. And on the screen, you'll see some typology. Some of it is signal preemption. Some of it is dedicated lanes. Some of it has dedicated lanes running certain times of the day. Others is dedicated lanes running all day. And again, I talked about signal preemption. There's transponders that you can put on the buses that will turn the light, just as you see for ambulances or things like that, that will give the bus the priority. That is key because it has to be reliable and efficient, and really being able to be competitive with a single occupied vehicle to entice people to get out of their cars and take the bus. But I did want to note that all BRT doesn't look like a fixed guideway system. And I'm not here to tell you what those two routes that we've identified for Manassas Park and working with your staff, I'm not here to tell you how they should look. It's for you to tell us. You know the area, you know the constituents, you're responsible for land use. But I am here to tell you that here are some possibilities on how we can get this system implemented. So next steps. Integrate BRT into the city's planning. Incorporate the routes and their stations into your comp plans, mobility plans, transit plans, and what have you. Why do I say that? The authority, we can only fund what's in our long-range transportation plan. And usually that comes from a project or projects being in your local plans. And we fund with the 70%. And again, that's for capital. We are legally prohibited from funding operations and maintenance. So that gets to the other question. Well, how do we fund operations and maintenance? The F word. So I will tell you, we are currently working on phase 2, and the F word is funding. Let me follow up. I don't want to leave that out there. Funding. We are currently working on phase 2 of the BRT action plan. Because we're currently updating the region's long-range transportation plan, where we have to run the model, and talking to localities and agencies, they've asked us to make some route refinements, do some adjustments, so we're doing that as part of the long-range transportation plan update. What we're also doing is talking to the state. We're talking to the feds. We're talking to anyone we can talk to try to give us a leg up on getting operational money. I will tell you, I've talked to Secretary Donahue, Nick Donahue, who's Secretary of Transportation. Talking to him, I'm like, these projects need to be in the state's long-range transportation plan, which is VTrans. He said, why? For funding? And I said, exactly. So we're on the same page, and he does support this. So we don't want to come in and say, hey, you get capital money and then we're going to leave you alone. No, it's our intent and our goal to walk all of the localities and agencies through this until all 28 routes are adopted. Now, having said that, you saw us had 2045. Everything will not happen overnight. Some routes will be more near term, some midterm, and some will take longer because some of them require land use changes. And again, I talked about getting in your plans and getting more public comment and more public involvement and things of that nature. But we did want to know that this is the blueprint. Lastly, okay, I don't know what I did right here. Anyway, I had a nice slide that spoke to all of the logos. The logos are important because although we can only fund what's in Northern Virginia, we have a bus rapid transit working group included Montgomery County, Prince George's, WMATA, DDOT, because again, the system should be seamless for the user. And maybe in an ideal world, we're all living in Northern Virginia, working in Northern Virginia, playing in Northern Virginia. We don't travel outside of Northern Virginia, but that's not true. So we did have those localities involved as well, and they are also involved in phase 2. It really is a collaborative effort. So I conclude my presentation this evening, and I am open for any questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Blackman, for coming out. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much for coming out. The presentation is wonderful, and we look forward to incorporating the BRT here in Manassas Park. We'll start this way with comments or questions.
No comments, questions. Thank you for coming out. It's enlightening.
Thank you.
And Ms. Bachman, it's been a long time.
It has.
About 10 years. So I appreciate everything you've done at VTA. You've done a great job managing and administering and everything you've done. So it's good to see you, and the mission is very, very great what you're putting together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I'm excited about this. I know that teenagers want to have access to being able to go back and forth from our city and other places in the area. So I'm excited that this is going to be something that's going to be in our plan. So hopefully you will find something or some way to make it happen.
Thank you, Ms. Bachman. The timing is impeccable, seeing that we're working on our comprehensive plan. And it seems like whenever you grace us, it's with money or opportunity. So we appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Just one question, and for the folks that are watching at home as well. You mentioned the needs base. So the two routes, the one that goes to the north to the airport, the other one that goes to the community college. Where does the data that comes from that kind of supports that those are the two routes that are most needed for the city?
So when we do the long-range transportation plan, we do a robust public comment period. We do surveys, we do pop-ups, we do online submission of public comments and things of that nature. So when we were doing the update for the long-range transportation plan, concurrently we were also doing bus rapid transit. And then when the long-range transportation plan was adopted in December 2022, when we really started honing in on a BRT action plan, that's where those two routes surfaced to the top. When talking to the citizens of Manassas Park, those are the two needs that we heard from the most regarding commuting from your citizens.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for your presentation. My question, I guess the riders, what is the amount they pay for a trip? And are those, I guess, the fares, can they be subsidized by the localities itself?
So I love that question because that's a we are ready to operate question. But I think a lot more planning would need to go into this. But to get to the immediate answer, if the council chooses to subsidize the fares, that is something that can definitely be done. I will say, just with Dash that's ran by the city of Alexandria, it's a zero fare system for the user because the city does subsidize the fares. So that is something that the city council can undertake, but we would want to have a lot of conversations with you to make sure that that's something that you can viably do.
Right. I mean, it's all about psychology, right? Why should I take the bus if I got to pay for it, and can I get to where I need to get versus taking my car?
Absolutely. Now, Dash, they're breaking ridership records constantly at zero fare.
Interesting.
But every system can't afford to do that.
Right. For these streetscape improvements, it would be multiple jurisdictions, I guess, needs to be
Absolutely.
coming
And
into the pot, I guess.
because of our role as the regional transportation agency, and that's where we facilitate those conversations, and we can see the whole thing at a higher level. So it's our job to know what every locality is doing, where you are in the system, where you are in the pipeline. Like I can tell you, Fairfax County, they are acquiring right-of-way and things like that for their Route 1. Now, Prince William County is looking at, well, how can we link up to Fairfax County's Route 1 and things of that nature. And that's really optimal for us.
Right. Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
If it's all right, I would love to hear from Steve about how this might look for Manassas Park. Thank you, Monica. Or Carl.
No, you're
Oh,
going to
Steve,
Steve.
okay.
I'm just doing tech.
I really wanted to.
I'm just.
Yeah,
IT
I just want to say that, I'm just looking in their routes, the map, and I think this will make college a little more accessible for our students. So I think this is great. Not a lot of students are getting their driver's license these days. The car insurance is really high in this area, and I think this is great. And I just see the route that goes up to 28, that it has a lot of interchanges that can really network within the city as well, so other jurisdictions.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I want to thank Monica for coming out and briefing us this evening on the BRT plan for the NVTA region. A slide that I wanted to put together for you all. It gives a little bit more information regarding the 30% and 70% funds that were mentioned. NVTA does, through the General Assembly legislation, have a regional sales and use tax of 0.7% that's added onto existing sales and use tax. In Northern Virginia, it's Planning District 8. There's a few other smaller revenue sources that the authority has, but 30% of that funding is directly to the localities in the jurisdiction. It's based on a pro rata share. It's formula based, so the tax that's collected within Manassas Park, divided by the total tax that's collected, that gives our share. Annually or per fiscal year, we get plus or minus $600,000 from that fund, as mentioned, to spend on public transportation improvements as we deem fit. We've used these funds for grant match before. We've used them on 50/50 VDOT revenue sharing projects such as the Connor Drive extension. We've used it on Upper Kent. We've used it on some street resurfacing, concrete projects. We also have a number of those funds committed both in the CIP and in some out years as additional grant match. Just most recently, we had about $340,000 of a match for the Manassas Drive sidewalk project that's being studied right now by VDOT. One of the things that is unique about the 30% funds, also statutorily required, is that a commercial and industrial tax or the equivalent be levied or the equivalent contributed. Basically, the localities pay themselves that equivalent. That's what we do. We do not impose that tax. To my knowledge, I don't think anyone in Northern Virginia.
We do have 4 localities that have seen it.
4 localities do charge, but we do not. That's a subject of discussion if you want it to be, but as of now, we do not charge it. So in essence, that equivalent is about $400,000. So our total local fund is just over $1 million that we receive every year. As Ms. Backman mentioned, our total has been about $7 million of the 30% funds. And as mentioned, we've invested a fairly significant chunk of that, and we've committed another chunk of that. The other 70% is dedicated solely to regional transportation projects, regionally significant multimodal projects across all the NVTA jurisdictions. The first prerequisite to that is getting your projects in transaction. Transaction is the Northern Virginia Regional Multimodal Plan, and as mentioned, most of those projects, if not all, stem from the city's comprehensive plan. So it is great timing with the BRT, as well as with the update of transaction now and our comprehensive plan being updated, that we can dovetail the BRT into the comp plan and our comp plan projects into transaction. So great timing. All of those things are aligning. We have 11 projects in the plan right now, and most recently, the last 2 6-year, or once they're adopted, becomes a 6-year program. They're programmed as the 6-year funds through NVTA. The most recent applications that we've either done or been a part of is the Innovative Intersections Project on Route 28. Phase 2 of that was approved for $40 million in the 24 to 29 6-year program. And the Railwood Trail Project, that was a regionally significant project with the City of Manassas, Prince William County, and us. Some of the monies that were committed to the study, the additional feasibility study of the $90,000, $40,000 additional dollars, that was 30% funds that we used to study the railroad trail. That was applied for by Manassas. We obviously supported it with a council resolution, and that was successfully funded in the FY 26 to 31 plan. And we're hoping, well, Monica hasn't heard yet, but we're hoping to advance that sooner than later, and that's a great project. So moving forward, we look to remain an active member of NVTA. I thank you all for serving on the committees and the board. They're a great partner for us, and any questions you might have, I'm happy to take.
You do have another slide, Steve.
I do. I don't. It was sort of hidden, but I'm happy to show it. The transaction, the projects that were in transaction.
Yeah, that's but you talked about it. I just want to make sure it was there.
Yeah, it's there. I'm happy to. There we go. So some of the projects that have regional significance, and I guess what I'll say is, you know, being a smaller city, it makes it a little difficult when we're not a huge county that basically we connect to everything. But we do have some opportunities. Route 28 cuts right through. Obviously, that's been funded. The Centerville Road corridor improvements, the innovative intersections. Worth noting, there are a couple other efforts. The BRT plan was mentioned. We're making sure that innovative intersections considers the the BRT plan, but also the widening. And thank you for coming on the widening call today, the steering committee. The 28 widening was a comprehensive plan amendment that was done by Prince William in order to, I guess, reconsider alternatives as opposed to the bypass once that was no longer a thing. So VDOT is funding another study. I think we might call it something else, but we're looking again at the widening on Route 28 as a potential alternative. That would not impact us at nearly as much because we have existing 6 lanes. But we're looking at that. That is in transaction. A Mathis Avenue extension project, which would essentially connect over to Old Centerville Road. City of Manassas, I'll keep going, but City of Manassas has some plans for kind of a walkable Mathis Avenue. It would be great to continue that into the city. We have the Connor Drive extension and roundabout. As you've heard about, this is on the southern end of Connor Drive, which would include the bridge over the rail as another alternative for our residents to get out in and out of the city if needed. That definitely, we can make the argument that that's regionally significant to bring people in and out of Manassas Park. Euclid Avenue Northern Extension is another alternative to the Route 28 bypass. However, that is just included as an alternative. The odds of us seeking funding for that right now are pretty minimal. Trails construction, our active transportation plan is in. The VRE Manassas Line Trail, this was the one that was most recently funded. That is in. That also extends all the way to Landmark in Alexandria. So that is a large phase 2, but given timing and given jurisdictional commitments, we went ahead and stuck with just Manassas, Prince William, and Manassas Park with this first phase. We have a few developments that are isolated and don't have multiple ways in and out. So if you think about the Mosby Ridge developments, if you think about even Bloom's Crossing, if something were to happen, west or east of Carondelet, there's limited ways in and out, really none. So we're looking at possible connections behind the elementary school to get to Birmingham Drive, which could be for emergency services vehicles or emergency evacuation purposes, but also Kirby Street, Mosby Court, and Polk Drive, trying to have some connectivity there, because once you go into those developments, there's one way in and one way out. Those are included. The Blooms Park access construction, that is something that in the event we wanted to improve access to the park, we could look at that. Worth noting, there are, even though these are the specific projects that the city has put in, we're partners with other jurisdictions and most notably transit providers. So VRE has numerous projects regarding capacity increases, frequency increases, trips on weekends. They have requests in there, and OmniRide also. So OmniRide would be a big partner with our BRT projects, and as you guys know, microtransit is something in Manassas Park that is fare-free. We strongly support the expansion of that. So whether it's a direct impact to the city or indirect through some of our partners, we have a lot of opportunity with NVTA.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any questions for Steve? We'll start this way.
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Thank you so much, Steve and Monica. Thank you for coming out. All right. Treasurer's Quarter 1 FY27 update. Welcome, Donald Shoemaker. Treasurer Shoemaker.
I'm gonna ask another question. I'm not gonna leave here until 1 p.m.
I can't wait. I live on Cabell too.
I do. I'm over there all the time.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right. For anybody watching at home, I'm Donald Shoemaker. I'm your treasurer here in the city of Manassas Park, and I think with these great presentations we heard, we're going to need some money to make that happen. So I'm the right person to come after them. Thank you for your time and letting me present. So just kind of a quick alert I'm going to go through. Our staff, tax write-offs, water and sewer, collections, enforcement actions, and bank updates. All right. I know you've already read the packets here. I'm not going to read all the names, but even with two of us being in the office new this year, we have 60 years of experience in our staff. And one of them you just said, Karam has been here 20 years. Actually, next month will be 21 years. We have another employee who's also been with us for 20. So we have a lot of experience to serve you guys each and every day. All right, so let's go to debt write-off. We wrote off debt. This is something new I haven't talked about before. It's something we do administratively each year. But I did break it down for you with accounts and the amount that we wrote off for each type of tax. Business license, we wrote off 4 years. And so as you can see, the way I broke it down was in 2017, it was 62 accounts. In 2018, it was 70 accounts. 2019, it was 64 accounts. In 2020, it was 62 accounts with those corresponding numbers for each of those years. Business tangible, 2019 was 96, and 2020 was 94. Personal property was 1,022 accounts. The number in parentheses is how many accounts we had delinquent when I presented in March. So you know what that means. We wrote off $210,000 for 2019 and $215,000 for 2020, and those represent each over 1,000 accounts out of about 15,000 accounts. So I did not put real estate on here. We can collect for 20 years, and we have several years that are at 100%, and you'll see we have several years that are basically one house away from 100% collection. So let's talk about everybody's favorite, water and sewer. It was my favorite today. I say that jokingly, but we actually had water shut off today. So I did not put it on here because we didn't know until today what it would be. One of the things I've been working on is automatic debit. We do have it, and I'm trying to expand it so that more people are automatically on the automatic debit for water and sewer. It prevents you from being late, prevents penalties, prevents shutoffs. So right now in the current system, there is a charge for e-check and a charge for credit and debit. And it really limits how successful I can market that strategy to our residents, because people will literally say, I'm not paying the city any more money, even if it's $1.95. The e-check is $1.95 regardless of the amount. Credit and debit's 2.95%. So one of the things that I'm considering investigating is to get us aligned onto Avinity for water and sewer. They offer a utility module. I'm very preliminary, way down here, but something I'm looking at because they do have free e-check on Avinity. I think we could get double, at least immediately, if we could offer a free e-check function for our customers on water and sewer. That would definitely reduce the amount of checks that we get. It would reduce people coming in the office. It would reduce our Dropbox volume, and it would, we have my master chief deputy can basically download it every morning. It's like a 5-10 minute procedure instead of processing tons of checks. By the way, it is not free for us to deposit checks to the bank. It's 20 cents a piece. There's actually a cost to us, just in case you didn't know that.
To deposit.
Yes, for each check, actually. And it actually costs us, I'll get to it in the banking part, but it actually costs us to deposit money too, cash. So as I was saying, as fees are reducing our participation, I think we could greatly expand that in terms of the people that could take advantage of that. I actually reach out to people on the 18th. Everybody gets an email, and it tells you what your debit's going to be on the 25th of the month. I personally reach out to each person if there's any kind of failure. For instance, a credit card, a debit card expires, I reach out personally to each of those people. I look in the system, pull up their account, and I actually look to see if there's an email, or if I try to call and to let them know, because then they still have 12 days to be able to make a one-time payment so that they're not late and we don't need to impose penalties, because nobody wants to pay penalty. Another part of water and sewer is shutoffs and meter tampering, and it is an issue. We conduct shutoffs usually on the third Wednesday. Today was the third Tuesday, but for non-payment, usually, I get this question a lot, most of the accounts are 2 full months delinquent and usually already have the third one billed. So for instance, a lot of the people that were shut off today, they owed what was due on June 1st and on April 30th, and then they already have the bill for July 31st. I said that wrong, June 1st and June 30th, excuse me, and then whatever they owe for July 31st. So they have at least 3 bills now. So that's kind of the standard that we use for our shutoffs. We handle all the collections in-house. This doesn't go to TACS, it doesn't go to the debt collector. We actually handle it all in-house. So my water billing staff handle all the collections. We've had to do a few pre-lien letters on water and sewer, but we have been able to be very successful in collecting that. I listed the shutoffs. January was 0 and May was 0 because we cannot shut off if it's under 32 degrees or above 92. That's actually state law. So you'll notice in our progression is February was very large, 116, March was 88, April was 62, then May was actually too hot in May, but not in June or July. Go figure. Last month was 112. Today was 43. We had 7 people pay online last night, and we had somebody pay in the Dropbox this morning, so we actually only cut off 35, which is a very low number for a month with shutoff. We have, next, we have people that are turning on meters who have been shut off. That's a violation. It's $300. We charge $300 for meter tampering, and what happens is we shut people off, and then they go out to the meter and turn it back on. And then they shut it off again. And somebody just learned the hard way what that was, that we had to replace the meter because they actually went and turned the water on, left it semi-exposed, and their landscaping company actually ran over it. And we had to replace the entire meter and the electronic components. And it was $470 to replace that meter. And we had to charge the homeowner for that. And he was attempting to sell, and his tenant left a balance, so the homeowners are responsible. If a tenant leaves a balance, just so you guys know this, the homeowner has to sign paperwork in my office, and they are responsible for tenants who leave without paying their bill. So it was over $1,000. That was his final bill. All right. So here's some numbers. I tried not to bury you guys in numbers, but I thought I had some interesting numbers, so I'll take a swing at this one. If you want to know anything else, please let me know. I can give you other data, but I thought these were a few things that were interesting. Obviously, the water billing is in my office. The base fee, which is the $52.77, generated $4,999,376. So basically, $5 million was generated just from base fees, before any usage, before anything else. The usage line, that's the water. So that's $1,661,000. We billed in last fiscal year, thought you might like this, we billed 405,962,000 gallons as a city for the whole year. 326,118,000 was residential, and then business, industrial, schools, that was the other almost 80 million. So that's kind of how it broke down. It's about 80% residential and about 20% everything else. There are 4,209 water and sewer accounts, give or take. On the sewage side and trash, fun, tough stuff. The sewage, because the water and the sewage is not equal in the usage, sewage was about 2.5 million in usage. So that's about 9,171,000. The trash we also billed, that was 1,662,377. The trash number, that was a good point that the city manager and I were talking about. The number of accounts for trash does not equal the accounts for water and sewer because you've got businesses on dumpster service that do their own. So that's why if you add those numbers up, that's why they don't match. So we have 166 on dumpster service. We have 74 on elderly because when you do tax relief for seniors, they also get a reduced rate for water and sewer. And we have trash, and we have 3,761 on the curb side. So let's talk about collections, one of my favorite things to talk about. So this is just the number since I came in on January 1st. I'm sorry, this doesn't have the number. This is supposed to be the number of transactions and the value of what I collected on that and my staff collected. So real estate, we had 5,038 transactions. It's a little deceiving because we get Loretta, we get CoreLogic, and we download all those. We get, hundreds or even thousands of accounts. And so we're not having to process those with literally Stacy and Yessie and other people coming up to the window. We can download those. So we're only doing a fraction of those in the mail, in the Dropbox, or people that actually come into the office. So as you can see, personal property, that is our heaviest season in terms of transactions. And it takes the longest per transaction, and it takes a lot more time to send decals back. I've thought of some, I'm not ready to announce anything, but I've thought of some ways. I'm trying to streamline it. We've done a few things. I may come back to you at some point with some different ideas. But one of the things that is kind of lurking out there is somebody usually has a DMV bill in the state someplace, and the goal is they want to eliminate the stickers that you get for registration. And if they were to do that, most localities would have to come back to do what we're doing with decals, because there would be no way to visually tell. They could do the license plate readers, but there would be no visual to be able to say, hey, Alana's car is legal because she has the registration renewed. So that's an issue that's kind of on the horizon. It does get brought up every year in Richmond. So business license, there were 457 transactions for about 1.1 million. Business tangible, there were 600 transactions for about 1.3 million. Meals tax, there were 274 transactions. And remember that those get paid, should get paid every month. So that was about 617,000. And then we have public service corporations. That's Washington Gas, Novec, there's like 5 or 6 of those. That's 452. So we've collected over $28.6 million just in the last 6 months with basically 4 people. So we do a lot of work with just a small staff. All right, so let's talk about real estate. This is as of July 10th. I only, on this screen, I did it differently than I did it when I presented to you guys before, but basically I have the year, the amount collected, the amount of outstanding taxes, and the amount that's collected. We are basically, as you can see, several of those years, we're 1-2 houses away from 100% collection. I can tell you which ones they are. I mean, that doesn't matter, but we are continuously, it's public, real estate's public record. You can go on the website and actually look.
Sure, we don't need it.
We don't need that. But anyway, so you can see is we're 99.99, 99.98 for several of those years. The last 2 on there, the parentheses, that's where we were when I presented on March 3rd. So you can see that we've continued to collect, and even with 26 where we've billed again, we've ramped up how much we've collected in terms of percentages. All right, personal property, everybody's favorite. So same thing, collected, how much is still delinquent, the percent that we collected. The percent that's in the parentheses was where we were when I presented on March 3rd, where we had just finished that tax season because we were delayed until February. Every year has gone up. We're up over 90% even through 2023, and 24 and 25. 24 was a little bit more marginal, but we're closing in on 88%. 25, we've made the biggest leap because we had the most still delinquent. We went from 77.5. We're closing in on 85 right now. The parentheses numbers for 25 is where we were on March 3rd. So we've collected about almost $500,000 just in that tax, just in the last 4 months. So we've made significant inroads, and I wanted to thank the Commissioner of Revenue and the Commissioner of Revenue staff. They have been so helpful. One of the things I wanted to show, I know she left. Don't worry, I'm not presenting on all these, but it's just, this is just the stack of the personal property declarations that were returned by the post office for bad addresses. And Sheila specifically went through all of these. And what she was able to do was give me a lot of additional addresses that I can resend bills out to the correct address. That's our biggest problem with personal property is we don't have good addresses, especially people, not exclusively, but people in the apartments, they move and we're trying to find them. So it can be difficult. And that's why she was so instrumental. And I'm sorry that she left, but I wanted to let you guys know that. All right, meals and business license. Meals, I just had the 2 years on here. We're almost at 97% for 2025. We're still collecting on 2026. One of my gentlemen, that's our biggest delinquency in meals tax, was in today for the first time to make a payment. So I was very excited about that. Business license, I just put 3 years on here. We are trending up, and I want to thank the commissioner because her new procedures, you can see, are showing benefit. We're almost at 98%, and we're still in the same year. So I know that Lucy and her staff have been working so hard to streamline processes and make it easier for taxpayers, and you can start seeing it in the numbers because we're seeing progress. Business tangible, you can see it's funny that the business tangible number is identical to the personal property, which is kind of funny. It was 84.64. I guess it's a fluke. Maybe play your numbers on the lottery. But it's we're still collecting on that. It is a little bit higher. Most years are over 90%. So we're doing well, but there's still room for improvement, and we're continuing to do so. All right, so let's talk about enforcement. We're going to be using more, we've already been doing a more aggressive use of DMV holds to collect personal property and business taxes. Just know that we can put a DMV hold on you for any tax that you owe, not just personal property. That set off, we are going to be trained on that. Both Francis and I are going to be trained on that. It's free collection of taxes. The state does it for us. We were in the program, but I didn't know that. I thought we needed to reapply. We've been in the program all these years. It just hadn't been used. And I got a call from the state saying, hey, you want to continue? And I said, yes. So they're actually going to train us. And we have to do training before we can continue our participation. We're going to do that. We can upload the file, and then the state can match it against any income tax return or lottery winnings. Real estate properties that are severely delinquent will be referred to TACS for tax sale. There's a few, and some people need a little push. There's just a few properties. I will say one of my properties that I presented on March, TACS just got $13,000. It was half of what they owed, and then we had the gentleman who owns a business property who was over $200,000 delinquent. He's paid $60,000 in payments. So we are making progress on some of our most delinquent taxpayers. I'm also going through training, and in August, we're going to be starting to do treasurer summons for business taxes, real estate, and personal property. That's where we summon taxpayers and are required to come in under administrative procedure. I'm going to be taking a class in 2 weeks on delinquent taxes to be able to better serve our city and be able to collect more delinquent taxes. All right. We're going to do some more, just a few things. We're bringing more free money into the city. My Deputy 3 position for the full year for this year was $33,949 of additional revenue that wasn't originally applied for, and so I brought that extra money that we hadn't been getting into our city. I've also, I want to talk just a brief second about Master Chief Deputy Francis Senega. He is definitely the heart of our operation, and he had already become a Master Chief. And so I submitted back in January when I realized he wasn't receiving the money he needed to. And this is state money, requires no local match. This is above and beyond his state salary of 9.3% per year. And he's worth every penny of that. And so I just want to give him I know that he watches the meetings, and so I rely on him each and every day. He brings such tremendous value to our city and to our citizens and our businesses. And the money requires no local match. All right, let's talk about some more free money. So I'm ending on the good part, so you can have money for BRT. So I have restructured our bank accounts, and we're estimating from the bank that we're going to be able to bring in $280,000 in additional interest between schools and the city. And so one of the things you're probably going to have to make a decision on is how the schools are able to not spend the money that they earn on their deposits, because you're going to have to at some point appropriate the money or allow it to come back to the city at the end of the year. That's technically not my decision. This being the first year, you guys are going to have to kind of come up with something in terms of how you want to apply that money. Do the schools get to spend it on something on their capital needs budget? Do they return it to the city? Whatever you do, but you will need to make a decision on that. We're currently getting 3.15% interest, and before that, we were getting almost none. Actually, we were paying into the bank on bank fee because the interest we were getting wasn't even covering the bank fees that we were being assessed. So we've turned a net negative into a positive cash flow that we can actually bank on in terms of we have money coming in. You could buy down the tax rate. You could, apply that whatever money we get, you're going to apply it to the next priority need that you guys deem. But there will be money coming in, and interest rates aren't going to go from 3.15 to 0 overnight. That's just not how it works. So there's going to be money there by the end of the year for your use. I've also started opening some of those certificate deposits. I opened 3 at 3.9% about a week ago. And I've also been talking to additional financial providers that are guaranteed by the state that we may be able to get even additional interest income, because I want to bring free money into the city on the money that we already have. And with that, I'll take questions.
Thank you, Treasurer Shoemaker. We'll start with questions down this way to the left.
So, thank you. I know that a lot of your work requires, it's very tedious, a lot of focus and just keeping on it and following up again, and then when you think you're done, doing it again. So thank you to your staff, and thank you for looking out for them, because I think managing your people, they're our greatest asset. So they're working hard and they're doing it because I think you value them and they see that you value them. So thank you. I have just some questions here. Why weren't we doing some of this before? Because I mean, I don't know the division of labor whose job's what.
We weren't asking for it.
Okay, so is it the treasurer's job to put things
So
in
all the banking.
investments and CDs and?
That's all me.
Okay.
Or
All right.
that's the treasurer position. I'm the one that I actually go to the bank every day, and I oversee our investments and where we are cash wise, and yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Treasurer, thank you very much. I think you've done an outstanding job these first few months, and everything you presented and your staff has been great. So you're doing what a treasurer is actually supposed to do. So to answer the question is we have different leadership, and that's why it's improved. So, but thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the extended sorts of information. It's really refreshing to hear what we're up to, what you're up to, how our money is being grown and used. And so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think you're doing a great job. Very appreciative. And then, just as a comment, not a question, but just as a comment, I think, we've had some conversations about, prioritization and stuff like that. My personal thought is the personal property, because as we've talked about, real estate is here, it's not going anywhere. It's harder for people to not pay that forever. If you just look at these numbers, the clear answer is personal property. And kind of going back to those ones that are 3, 4, 5 years old, and how do we convert them, and how do we use the new technology that we have to see if there's folks that are here, that have a car here, that haven't paid for a couple years, and make those the priority for the enforcement action. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
What I was and I'll add is that the commissioner and her staff have done such a great job. I don't want to steal her thunder because I don't know what the number is, but they have done a great job of uncovering vehicles that have not previously been taxed, and we've been supplemental billing them in big, huge stacks. I mean, we just did another stack today, and we do that every few days. We have big stacks of bills that go out for vehicles that have not previously been taxed in the city. So know that the commissioner has so much effort and so much success in that, and her staff too. So she makes me look good. So, but we are doing a lot between our offices. We talk every day, and so there's a lot of communication going on. We're on the same page. We're moving in alignment so that we're not at cross purposes. And I think you're going to start seeing that. I will say that personal property is. It's the amount of time that I personally spend on, because I'm effectively the collections person. That's the role I've taken in the department. it's so much compared to what we get out of it. I mean, it's a, you know, I don't mind doing it, but it is, you know, for 12% of our revenue, it's a huge share of the time that me and our staff spend to collect it. Real estate's so much easier, it doesn't move. It's 99.99% collection. Like, you know, in a perfect world, we could do it that way. But, you know, we also have the state money from the the PPTR. And so we would be leaving a lot of money on the table from the state if we were to do something like that.
Thanks. Councilmember Gibbon?
Hey, thank you, Donald.
You're welcome.
The shutoffs you mentioned for the water shutoff?
Yeah. Do you want me to go back to it?
30 plus houses?
Well, there were 33, sorry, I was going back to water and sewer.
Yeah, I forgot the number.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we had 33 residences and actually 2 businesses. We don't discriminate. If businesses don't pay, they get shut off just like residents
So
do.
let me ask you a question for these shutoffs. Does the department actually send physical notices to the residents or the business owners that they're about to be shut off?
Well, they get it on the bill. There'll be a shut-off date if they're at risk of being shut off. It's, you know, in the big red, I don't know, big red print, and there's a huge amount of text with it. So it's usually, I mean, we you know, we have a subset of people that we bill monthly and they pay quarterly.
Right.
You know, it's.
So just a note on the bill, not actual like a door hanger or something that we visited your site, you're being shut off soon or something like that?
No, we haven't done that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, with the 116, that would be very logistically kind of harder depending, I mean.
Yeah.
You know, if you have some ideas, I'd love to chit chat with you offline. You know, maybe we can come up with some other ideas.
Yeah,
you
just
know.
wondering, on that note, is there anything that's offered like a payment plan option? Or
Not
is it
on-
just shut off, this is what you owe?
Yeah, not on
full
water.
balance, or that's
Not
it?
on water and sewer. They have to pay the whole amount.
Whole amount?
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people will come up with $600.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, you couldn't have had that yesterday
Mm-hmm.
to avoid shut off, but they will, because if they do it after 2 o'clock, they've got to pay $90 for the after hour turn on. So it's whatever they owe plus $90.
Right.
And
Well, I'm saying, like, you know, some households have, you know, temporary hardships, and
we do get.
I'm a big believer of, because I used to manage properties in Baltimore in the inner cities, and they have policies where they don't shut off water, especially because that's a necessity for a lot of their tenants, and they have different policies and systems in place. The 33 households, that's a big number for a small city like us, and coming up with some type of notice action plan, a payment plan, or even contacting maybe, you know, this city here, we could come up with some type of assistance program that households that qualify for, that need help temporary for the hardship like that.
We do send people over, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but we do send people, there are churches that make pledges. They can do that.
Okay.
We used to send people over to, I believe, over to Novec. They used to have money sometimes for shut-offs. We can send people over to social services. Sometimes they have small amounts of money they can help with utilities. Just know that we only have 8. So we started the day at 35 and we ended at 5 o'clock. Only 8 households are going into tomorrow off. So, and that's about what it usually is. There's a handful. Some of those people aren't even home. Some of those people are tenants who have left. And so, because I got really worried on one of our shutoffs that was really large. I think it was the one that was 116. And I was worried because we had some people that were off for like a week.
Okay.
You know, and I got kind of worried because, you know, what's going on after a week? Like usually we get a call as soon as we open. My water's been shut off and they know what it is and they make payment and we can get them turned on the same day. That's the goal. I mean, I want them to pay beforehand, but we want them to be able to get paid and get reconnected the same day.
Thanks. You have a follow-up?
No follow-up. Thank you for the presentation. A lot of good numbers.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out, Donald. We appreciate your hard work.
Thank you for having me. I'll try and come back after the next personal property season with another update, maybe in November. I meant to say on the last slide is that our I didn't do the last, I don't think I did the last slide, which is not that, there's not that much on there. Is that the color for 2027 will be orange
Exciting.
for the decal.
Great.
Did you pick that color, or? was
Yes, I
it
did. And
rotated?
it also, my master deputy is also a Knicks fan, and their colors are blue and orange.
Okay.
Are these two of your staff members in the audience?
No.
Oh, okay, I was just
No.
curious. I wasn't sure.
They're just our fans.
Oh, there you go.
We also, another item for you is, I brought it, I'm gonna have to send it back. This is a check for temporary occupancy tax, the top tax. We get these checks. They're renting on Verbo and all those places. We're getting checks that I have to send back.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's
So ju-
definitely something
so
we'll have
just-
to bring up.
Not telling you what to do,
As
but
a
just
body.
know that we're getting checks because they are doing it.
Okay. Thank you, Donald.
Thank you.
Next up is the consent agenda. Tonight, the consent agenda includes the approval of the minutes from June 16 and 23, 2026, the approval of the FY '27 governing body meeting calendar, and that the governing body approve the resolution adopting a policy allowing for governing body member participation in governing body meetings remotely, a maximum of 2 times during FY 2027 in strict conformance with the policy. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Next up is our annual audit services agreement. Welcome, Mr. McNeil.
All right, good evening, Mayor and members of the governing body. I'm Josh McNeil, Deputy City Manager of Finance and Administration. Tonight's presentation is focused on our procurement process for annual audit services. We've concluded the evaluation phase, scored the proposals, and are now seeking direction from the governing body on next steps. As I go through the presentation, feel free to ask me any questions as they emerge. All right, so the purpose of the agenda item is to just cover the procurement process from start to finish. We'll look at the criteria that was used during the evaluation phase. We'll also cover the results and the outcome of the procurement process. And I'll be remiss if I don't mention this because FY '26's audit cycle has already started. Staff would like to move forward with the agreement as soon as practical. Sorry. All right, so when looking at the procurement framework, we used or followed Virginia Code 2.2-4302.2, which establishes a competitive negotiation process, includes a written RFP, evaluation factors, numerical scoring, and also a public notice. The RFP described the services that we were seeking, the proposal requirements, the evaluation factors, and each proposal was scored by the evaluation committee. And so, yeah, we essentially followed the code and had a competitive procurement process. All right, so this slide covers our RFP at a high level, just the overview of it. The RFP requested proposals from qualified certified public accounting firms. The requested services included annual audit services beginning in FY '26. The proposed contract period covered FY '26 through FY '28 with up to 3 optional one-year renewals from FY '29 to FY 2031. Also, the scope included the Manassas Park City Schools, and we issued the RFP on March the 19th, and it was due on April 13th. All right, so this is a high-level look at what the procurement schedule was, and again, we issued the RFP on March the 19th. The questions were due on March 30th. Proposals were due again on April 13th. And we also had a 2-week evaluation period that ran from April 16th through the 30th. And then on May 15th, we notified the firms who submitted proposals of the results. And now it's July 21st, and we're at the point where we are considering an agreement with the firm. We received a total of 6 proposals. All 6 proposals were deemed responsive. The evaluation committee scored all 6 proposals. Earlier today, albeit maybe 2 or 3 hours before the governing body meeting, I provided copies of all of the proposals, the evaluation committee scoring sheets, the amendment that was related to the RFP and the RFP itself. Not sure if you had a lot of time to review that, but definitely wanted to get that out there, and those documents remain in our records. And if you have any questions about those proposals or the materials, happy to answer any of those questions. All right, so the evaluation criteria, this spells it out. We had 4 different categories: firm qualifications, the engagement team, relevant experience, audit approach, and work plan. And you'll see that firm qualifications and audit approach and work plan were the most heavily weighted at 25%, and relevant experience and engagement team were weighted at 20% both. And also included some examples of what the evaluation committee used to actually score the proposals in those bullet points under each category.
Where's the other 10%?
Yeah, good question. So initially, we were planning to score pricing at 10%, but we were advised by General Services, our procurement division, to not include pricing in the total technical scoring. So we did collect that information, and we'll use it as we prepare for negotiations, but we didn't factor it in our technical scoring.
Thank you.
All right, so this is a look at what the evaluation process consisted of. It's a bit redundant, but we received proposals from 6 firms. We formed an evaluation committee consisting of 3 members, city employees in the finance department. After we scored the evaluations, the evaluation committee, we brought back the 2 highest scoring firms for follow-up interviews and discussions. And those 2 firms prepared presentations and met with us to go over their proposals in more detail. And then after that, the discussion and interview, we being General Services in the Finance Department, we finalized the scoring of the proposals. And essentially, those interviews reinforced what the scores, the results of the scores in the evaluation process. All right, so this slide attempts to just sort of bring it all together. Again, a bit redundant, but the RFP was issued in March. The proposals were received in April. We applied the criteria that was included in the RFP and scored them in April as well. We arrived at an outcome with the firms and how they scored. And now we're currently at the point where we just need direction from the governing body on whether we want to pursue an agreement with the firm who scored the highest or go in a different direction. But that's currently where we are this evening. And before I get to questions, that concludes the procurement overview. I think the elephant in the room is the FY25 audit and the status of that. Mike Moran from RFC, our existing auditor, and also the firm who scored the highest in our procurement process is here tonight. But I'm also here if you have any questions about the procurement process or the status of our FY25 audit. We're here to field any questions that you might have. This presentation was focused on the procurement process, but with the FY25 audit still not being complete, also want to answer any questions that y'all might have about that.
All right, thank you so much for the presentation. I did not have a chance to look at your email. It was a hefty lot of documents that we got at 4:30 today, so there's no way I could have gotten through it all before this meeting. I would want to do that. But we'll start with questions. Start this way to the right.
Oh, no questions. Thank you. Well, I guess my question just on this is more about the process. So like when we typically go out to bid for an RFP, do we typically, so I would assume, and I could be wrong about this might be a silly question, that we would say, hey, we went through this process, we got multiple bidders, we had the highest scoring one, maybe second highest scoring one, we're gonna look at price, we're gonna negotiate, and then we're gonna say, hey, do you guys, as the governing body, approve this? Like, Do you know what I mean? So it seems like this is different in the sense that you're asking us, what do you think we should do now versus just saying, hey, our recommendations that we move forward with firm XYZ.
Yeah, so first two things, the procurement process is different for professional services than it is for like contracting or construction.
Okay.
And that was why they had to remove the cost, the values out of
Sure.
the situation, so that wasn't, you can't actually evaluate that as what you're scoring.
Yep.
That's a part of the negotiations. So the recommendation tonight from staff is to negotiate with our current auditor for a new contract. But the procurement process always ends with the governing body. The ultimate authority is yours as a body. And if there is consensus among you that you'd like to go a different direction or not, or whatever you'd like to do,
I see.
then that's the process. I
Okay.
mean, and so we don't have this in our agenda template, but we will moving forward. We should always have an alternative to the recommendation of staff, and typically it is, if you don't agree with our recommendation, please provide direction. What would you like us to do?
Right.
And so that's where we are with this one tonight.
Understood. All right. Thank you for the
You're welcome.
clarification.
Thank you, Josh, for your presentation. I guess since you ended with that, I'd like to start with that. Where are we with the FY25 audit?
Yeah. So from the city's perspective, and maybe Mike can give you his perspective from the audit firm, we prepared our bank reconciliations, which has been our biggest pain point the last two audit cycles. Prepared the bank reconciliations and have provided that to the auditors, and so they are reviewing those the bank reconciliations for all of our cash accounts. And so we're just kind of working through making sure that the information is as accurate as possible. And I would also mention that we should be gearing up to start preliminary testing the preliminary PBC list that we provided to the auditors as well. But Mike, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Well, I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
So the preliminary testing, so we've been given different dates on this dais
Yeah.
for when the 25 audit would occur. And it keeps moving. I just want a date. When do we say we think we'll get the results?
Yeah. So when we last met, Mike and I, we landed on August 31st.
August?
August
Okay.
31st of this calendar year as being our target for completion. So that's the latest information that we provided to the auditors of public accounts, and that's the target that we're aiming for.
Okay.
The next meeting is September 1st, so that'll be good timing.
When were the bank reconciliations handed over?
Yeah, June.
No.
Okay.
Oh, Vice Mayor?
No, so I appreciate that. August. So that date has really moved a lot over the last 5 or 6 months. Why?
Yeah. I would say the bank reconciliations continue to prove to be challenging.
So the company that we hired to do bank reconciliations, and I think we're paying a large amount for that, they've not been helpful?
They prepared the bank reconciliations, but they are.
Did their contract require them to do it in a timely manner or fashion?
The contract doesn't explicitly say that they have to, prepare the bank reconciliations by X date. So I would say that they've given it their best effort to get it done, and they did prepare them. It just took them a very long time to get it done.
Wow.
But they are dealing with a system architecture that's unique.
We've had that system for years, since I've been on this council. We've never missed the deadline for our audit. It always was on time with the same architecture that we had in the past.
We implemented a new tax collection system in August of 2024, Avinity, which is the tax collection system that the Treasurer's Office is currently using. So that was an addition to the system's architecture.
Right, so you're saying that that's what caused the delay is the Infinity architecture?
That's a big part of it, yeah, a new system.
So that staff is not able to use the system, or the system's not functioning properly? What's the problem with the system? I would think a new system would make it better. It's in this case, it's worse.
No, so Avinity system has to talk with Keystone, our legacy financial system of record that we've been using for the last 7 or 8 years. Those systems don't talk. So Avinity, it contains teller records based on the collections. That information is exported into a file that we then upload into Keystone. But if that information on the general ledger exports don't match the teller reports, that causes a bank reconciliation challenge for us.
My other question was outside reviewers. We had all in staff review the vendors who submitted applications. Why no one out from the outside?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of procurement processes where they include outside vendors to give equitable eyes to the process, as opposed to in-house, like the chickens, garden, the hens guarding the chickens, or whatever that saying goes. So yeah, why no outside reviewers?
Yeah, don't know how common that is. I have witnessed procurement processes that have involved external folks, but the two other folks outside of me that were involved in this procurement process, they do not have a whole lot of direct contact with our auditors, and they were objective just like I was, and we felt like we were capable of scoring those proposals, impartially.
Yeah. So I'll cut it because we're wasting time here. My position is that we should go with the next responsive vendor who submitted, who's ranked number 2. Yeah, so I'll put that out there, and at some point I'll make a motion to that effect.
I have no comment, but I agree with what you're saying. Maybe look into the second, the one that ranks second.
Yes.
I also have a concern of why the audit is taking so long. I haven't seen this done. And we've had the previous system, since the previous system before that broke in 2015. And it is our responsibility to make sure that we have something in place that will get us streamlined, something new that will work with the current system. So I'm just concerned why the audit's going, it hasn't happened in the past. So I think I'm open to reviewing other options, so I'm supportive of the motion if you make it.
All right, Councilmember Cyberling, and then if you want to make the motion.
So were the scores part of or familiar with audit practices or understood or involved with our last audit? Any of the scores?
They were not involved with the last audit directly. No, they were not. But they are financial professionals who are familiar with audit standards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did go through the scoring and the process that you went through, and I felt that it did adhere to the state guidelines and procurement best practices. So thank you, and that was nice to see. It was refreshing. So I kind of see this as two separate things that we're talking about. One is the audit itself, so FY25 and FY26, and what's going on and how that's being handled, which is separate from the vendor. So to me, I lay that at our city manager's door to handle and to manage and make sure that the vendor is adhering to the contract. So to me, you scored, and we should award according to what was awarded and what was scored. But that's kind of where I stand on this. But again, like I said, I see these as two separate problems. I think that we should talk about the FY25 audit as a separate item from the audit contract. I did have a question about the value of this contract. Do we have an amount?
So technically, you're not supposed to talk about that until after you've picked a person, and then we negotiate the cost.
I was just curious, because if it's budgeted, then if the amount is already budgeted, do you even need our approval?
I don't, but
that's why I'm just
my
wondering.
sense has always been if it's controversial or cool, then I'd like to get it in front of you, just to avoid speed bumps down the road. But no, I don't need your approval. I can't. It is within my signing authority.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it's not. If it goes 4 years, it would be over that because it is cumulative. So you do have to make the decision.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about the contract value, and then also, if it was part of it, if it was budgeted already.
It is, and one other comment on what you said. We don't have a contract. We have engaged with our auditors on basically an engagement letter with no performance provisions over the last
Okay.
number of years. So that's part of this process.
Well, we
is
haven't
to-
been writing a contract. We haven't been writing another jurisdiction's
no,
contract.
we do not have a
Okay.
contract, and that's part of this process was to remedy that so that we could have performance expectations built in.
Okay.
But we don't have that now.
Because as far as the vendor's performance in the past, honestly, you need to sort that out, not us. Thank you, that's all.
Yeah, I'd like to move that we, as a body, go with the second responsive vendor for the
You-
city's
you
audit.
don't need a motion.
Consensus is fine for this. There's no active vote. It's just simply to proceed to,
Direction.
through competitive negotiation with the next highest ranked selectee.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, so Daryl is recommending that Vice Mayor Moore is recommending that we go with the second highest person. Let's roll call yes or no to that response.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 Yeah.
Okay. Nice direction. Thank you. Okay, conditional use permit for Max Custom Exhaust. Are there any further comments or questions?
I would like the dais to consider waiting to make a vote until we hear back on the noise levels.
Okay. I'll read the motion. Well, are we good to vote today, or does anyone else want to wait?
I'd like to vote today.
Vote today? Today?
Well, I'm sure the business,
Okay.
is there urgency? I don't know.
So the motion is that the governing body approve the conditional use permit CUP 2026-02, subject to the conditions dated May 28th, 2026, as recommended by the Planning Commission.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Two opposed. Abstain? Motion carries. Conditional use permit for the home daycare at 118 Cabell. Are there any further questions, comments? All right, the motion is that the governing body approve the conditional use permit CUP 2026-03, home daycare, 118 Cabell Drive, subject to the conditions dated July 7th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. All right, we're at second public comment. Anyone want to make a public comment? Anyone? No? Okay.
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you to the staff for fixing our curbs on our side of the city. It's very noticeable, so thank you so much for the work.
I will pass that on, thank you.
I'd also like to say thank you to the staff for the wonderful 4th of July celebration.
Yes.
That was amazing. It was an amazing show. Traffic was controlled really well. Everyone got home safely. So thank you to Public Works, Parks and Rec, and all the other staff that supported that effort. So, and fire and rescue, police, and just everybody running around.
whole city.
Yeah, it was really a great, so thank you very much.
And those of you that did send something in writing, I did pass that on in our debrief meeting, so I appreciate that feedback.
And then encourage our residents to come out on August 4th for National Night Out.
Yes.
It's always a great
Yes.
party, a great time
Oh,
had
and,
by everyone.
and now that you mentioned the police department, kudos to their videos as well.
Yeah.
Kudos, I smart.
Kudos to their videos
Oh, yeah.
as well.
They're really funny.
Yes.
Yeah, good
Yes.
stuff.
All right, city manager report.
Okay, a couple of things. One, our new phone system cutover will be tomorrow. And while that's happening, we do not expect that any of our landlines are going to work between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. It won't be constant, but we have posted this on all of our channels to let people know. We do have an email address that we posted, customerservice@manassasparkva.gov, for anything that needs to come in within that 2-hour window that can't wait and isn't an emergency. But the other thing is 911 and all of the public safety lines are not affected. They're on a different system. So that will work just as it always has. But if you have something that just needs to get in our hands, send it to the email address and they'll send it to the right department. And then we will post once it's all back up and running tomorrow as well. For Thursday is the mobile food market at 4 o'clock from 4 to 5:30 p.m. at the community center. This is on the Tremont side, the Manassas or the MAP Clinic side of the community center. So Bring your own bags, and food will be available while supplies last. Didn't last very long last month, so just FYI. Our next regular meeting will be on September 1st, way down the road. So a lot of stuff's going to happen between now and then. I just want to call it out real quick so it's in the top of your mind. In addition to the regular events like the farmers market, we're going to have last Friday, which actually will be happening on the last day of July, on the 31st this month, in the plaza at 6 p.m. Theme will be craft fairs. This is a theme we have had before, and is pretty popular, but we've had bad luck for the last couple of months and had to cancel due to weather, so fingers crossed. National Night Out, as Vice Mayor Moore mentioned, this is one of our most attended city events. Always the first Tuesday of August, August 4th at 5 p.m., Signal Hill Park. PD always does a great job of getting free food and other vendors, and this year appears to be no exception, so yeah, make sure you make the time. Building Power Through Knowledge Forum will be August 16th at between 3 and 5 at the Community Center. Focus of this forum is to provide participants information on available resources, emergency planning, personal rights, immigration laws, and many other things. It's on our calendar if you want to look at the long list, but that's going to be a useful community event. And then, because it's so long for our next meeting, the second mobile food market will be happening the Thursday, August 27th, same place, 4 to 5:30 on the Tremont side at the MAP Clinic. And the next thing is our new ERP is in full swing. Very exciting. Staff seem to be excited by the change and a lot of the newly available tools. There's some normal growing pains, but I've been shocked at saying, so if I push this button, I'm going to get to see how much money we spent so far this fiscal year, which has only been 3 weeks, but it's like amazing. Shockingly easy. I'm really so excited to be going on the downhill side of this journey. And like I said, we have 5 weeks, so have a great time and try not to forget what you do here. And otherwise, if you have any questions, that's all I have.
City Manager, is there any update you can provide on the movie theater, just briefly?
Yes, movie theater's on track. In fact, they just put the order in to have their arcade stuff delivered in early December, meaning all the video games, which means all the finishes are done. Carpet's done, electric. I mean, that's they're ready to start putting stuff in it. So still on target and doing well. I know it doesn't look like it because it's not being built here. It's being built off site. Mm-hmm. There's not enough room here to do the tilt up, and so the building's going to appear on trucks any day now.
So what does on track mean? So what is? I mean, I know what it means, yeah. But can you reiterate just so that
still a January completion.
January 2027.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome.
All right, and just so you guys don't totally put your brains on vacation, I am going to be sending an email requesting your additions and comments to the legislative agenda. I would like to have a discussion about that in our first meeting in September and then vote on it in the second meeting in September, so it's ready for presentation at the brunch at the end of September. All right, our next meeting is September 1st. Have a safe and fun summer. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you.